Well, you're listening to the Vital Moments wrap-up podcast by Vitalpoint Church. My name is David. I'm your host, your lovely host with a radio voice and a face for radio, as some would say. And I'm joined by Ron Baker, our lead pastor, also my father. We're going to talk Father Ron, and we're going to talk about simplicity because we wrapped up a series this past weekend on practicing the way, which was being like Jesus, becoming like Jesus, and doing what Jesus did through the practices and the rhythms of the habits of his life. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about simplicity before we hopped onto the call. We were like, okay, let's kind of wrap this up to talk about the practicality of the whole series as a whole.
Yeah.
So Ron, you chatted about simplicity.
David.
You chatted about simplicity. You open it up for us. You went to the Gospel of
Matthew,
where a man comes before Jesus and says, okay, what do I do? Like, how do I make this a reality in my life? How do I follow you?
Yeah.
Jesus responds with, keep the commandments, love your neighbor. Help me out here. Don't murder. They're the highlight ones. Don't murder.
Yeah.
Love your neighbor. And then
don't commit adultery.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, great. I've done that. I'm good. Now what? And Jesus says, take your possessions, sell them all, and follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, whoa, I can't do that. Or he was sorrowful, right? It was sorrowful.
Yeah, sorrowful.
I love that word, sorrowful. Give us a 2-minute reality check on why Jesus talks about this, and this is part of simplicity.
Well, I think that it's important to understand that this particular scenario is for this particular guy.
Yes. Yeah, that's huge for people to know.
Right. So it's not like Jesus saying that we all need to now go sell our stuff.
Yeah, because someone might say, okay, I'm going to go sell my stuff, and now I'm going to be a minimalist.
Yeah, and the reality is that if you go and sell all your stuff and give it away, then you're going to become dependent upon somebody else in order to live. So, and I believe what Jesus was doing in this moment was trying to zero in on this guy's particular thing that was standing in the way of him truly following Jesus, and
which was his
possessions, right?
Yeah,
his resources, and so, and I think what we did yesterday when the simplicity. Someone said to me, it was interesting. Someone said to me after the second service in Poplar Hill, they said, yeah, kind of a wrong title for this section on simplicity. And well, simplicity was more geared around making sure that our possessions don't get in the way of following Jesus, right? It's loving our possessions more than we love Jesus, or our possessions end up controlling us. They demand energy and time and focus, and I think that that's a bit of what Jesus was trying to drive home here for this rich guy, was that, hey, you're relying more upon your possessions than you are upon truly understanding what does it mean to have eternal life found in me. And I think that's basically that's the essential piece of what we're trying to do is break free from the patterns of this world, right? Where the world tells us to consume, have more. There's probably people listening or watching this that have a storage unit because they have so much stuff, they've got to put it somewhere. So they get a storage unit, or they can no longer put their car in the garage because the garage is so full of stuff and you can't fit your car in the garage. And I wanted to make that clear yesterday, or on Sunday, I should say, not yesterday, but some people may not be listening to it on Monday, is that having things is not wrong. You're not an evil person. But the reality of the simple life is to recognize that my possessions are just that. They're just things in the scope of my life, that I'm not depending upon them for meaning and purpose. I'm not depending upon them for my identity. And to break free from the pattern of the world that tries to cram us into its mold, that to have more, have better, have bigger, have faster. Like your brother has a F-150 and we were at Supercross on Saturday and we were driving home at night and we come up to an intersection and we go to turn, and he turns and his lights follow the steering wheel, right? They shift, and I'm like, oh baby,
I could get one of these.
I can get one of these trucks,
Yeah.
an F-150, and I mean, there's always these things that, and by the way, your brother didn't buy the F-150 for the lights to do that, but it's just the world in which we live in. It's consume. And the concern is that when in our Western culture, we are driven by consume, get, gain, stockpile, then what happens is these possessions get in the way, and Jesus hits them right where it hurts.
And I think that was huge for like a lot of people on Sunday to realize, okay, maybe I actually have placed my stuff. And you said on Sunday, I love that word stuff, because that's a massive category of stuff that we accumulate, we consume. And I think it really hit people, and it touched my heart. And my wife and I, we looked at each other in the service and we're like, oh man, like we see ourselves in this, where it's just like the end of a week. It's a tough week. I'm going to buy my feelings. I'm going to, instead of going to my Bible or even my wife, or my relationship with Jesus, I go to, okay, I can go to Home Hardware because there's a source for sports there. There's a source with tech stuff. I just want to go buy something to make myself feel good. The end of the week is finally here. And it's just like, I just consume more to purchase a feeling. And
it comes from a spirit of discontentment. We become discontent. And if we have a spirit of contentment, which is only found through a relationship with God, through the person of Jesus Christ, then our belongings can have their right place.
Yeah.
Because it's not bad or wrong to have things. It's just more of making sure that, I was thinking about this just before we pressed record too. We didn't talk about it, but it's crossed my mind, even the times where we're looking to buy something to make ourselves happy, or, your kids are having a bad week, so we're going to take them to McDonald's and make them feel better, or to buy them a toy. And I mean, that hit hard, I think, for some on Sunday when we talked about that. Don't do that, parents. Resist that urge, because all you're doing is training your children that they can buy their happiness. But the gratitude aspect is, you become discontent with something. Why don't you sit in gratitude? Sit in gratitude for the things that you have, and just start listing them off, and talking to your loved ones about it, writing a list, and just a spirit of gratitude. And, it can really change things. But I think also, just real quick, wrap up this, because I know we got to be shorter today. The passage in Matthew 6 where we talked about you can't serve two, you can't, masters. You can't love money and love God. You despise the one and love the other, whatever. That's couched in the section where your treasure is. Your heart will be there also. And I think that our treasures, our worldly possessions, will reveal our heart. And, and our hearts follow that. So that's maybe the guy in Matthew 19, his heart was captured by his possessions. So therefore he could not resist the urge. He couldn't sell it all to follow Jesus. And and I think that that's an important aspect. And in Poplar Hill, Dave, a mic drop moment in second service, I actually, when I talked about going on Amazon and filling up your cart and going to the mall, and it just came out of me. It was a moment where I kind of paused. The mall is a form of a worship center. And I probably read that somewhere, and it just stuck somewhere in the recesses of my heart, my mind. Because I don't think I'm that smart to come up with something like that. But worship center is like, this is where I'm going to go spend my money. This is where I'm going to go find some happiness. And I said at the end of the service, second service, it's not like going to the mall is wrong. Like, I don't want to, go and put a bag over my head and go to the mall, make sure no one sees me. But, I think that those are important things. So, but
you had four things to wrap up the simplicity conversation before we go to the practicality of this whole series. You had four things to run through your mind and your heart when it comes to simplicity. Do you have them off the top of your head, or you just need your notes?
No, I don't have them off the top of my head.
You're already on to the next week.
Well, that's the reality. That's the reality of our lives. I got them right here. Is
And you
this
don't have to break them.
person,
Don't break them down. Just give them to
well,
us. You know what I
let's,
mean?
okay. Is this purchase a need or a want? Am I getting this for status purposes? Am I trying to impress others? Is this a quick hit to make me feel better? If I buy this, what will I give away? And I will only buy quality and use less things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a combination of things in my own life that I see, in combination of John Mark Comer's book, Ruthlessly Eliminating.
A
Ruthless
ruthless
elimination of,
elimination.
that's a tough title.
You say it. You say it wrong every time. I
I
think, but
I do. I
it's
do.
a
It's
tongue
like this,
twister.
it's a
It is a
speech
tongue twister.
impediment.
No, it's all good. I think that's huge. Those four things. I wrote them down on my phone, and I just said, "Okay, God,
It's
this is
actually
what I'm."
five.
Five things. I wrote four of
Yeah.
them. I missed one.
Yeah, you did.
But I wrote down, God, like I'm actually gonna run these through every time.
Yeah.
And just make sure that I'm discerning, is this a need or is this a want? Am I doing this for other people? Am I doing this for
Yeah.
myself? It's just interesting when you do that. But we just finished 8 weeks.
8 weeks, dude. Whew.
8 weeks. And in all honesty, in the site that I work at, I know Jess up in Clinton, our site leader there, and you yourself from Poplar Hill, and then Amy that works as the community person. There has been a real stir in people's hearts.
Yeah.
This series has probably realigned some hearts that weren't ready for it. They were like it just came out of nowhere. At this moment in life where we as a team, as a church, have planned and prayed over this series, and a lot of hearts have been put back on track of, okay, my
Yeah.
relationship with Jesus needs to be, or
Yeah.
for some people, it's the first time ever. We've got people that are coming to church for the first time
Oh yeah.
and just being like,
Yeah.
whoa, I've never thought of church like this. My upbringing was drastically different, because it's such a
Yeah.
practical series, practicing the way.
Yeah.
We looked at 8 rhythms of life that truly can be lived out every single day. And you said something before we hit record. You wanted to
Yeah.
encourage people to not be overwhelmed by all 8.
Yeah. And I believe that one of the problems with the series is that people will believe that they have to implement all 8
Yeah.
practices.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a dangerous posture,
Mm-hmm.
a dangerous approach to the disciplines. I believe that we literally need to find 1 or 2 and
Mm-hmm.
just sit in that discipline for
Mm-hmm.
3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah, I can give an example in my life.
Sure. Go
Like
ahead.
Sabbath, like I heard Craig Rochelle say this, very much what you're saying. Don't attack them all at the same time. You're gonna
No.
set yourself up for no
For
success at all.
Oh, you'll set yourself up for failure.
Failure. And then
And you just
you'll
throw
dog
it, you
yourself
just,
so hard.
yeah, you just throw the towel in.
Yeah.
You go, I can't do this anymore.
So 3 years ago I started practicing Sabbath. It's
Mm-hmm.
now part of a rhythm of my life. It's been
Mm-hmm.
great. I took a year to do it before I entered into another practice.
Yeah.
Last year I did fasting for the full year. So Sabbath and fasting are now part of the rhythm of my life. I do it every week. And now I'm doing
Yeah.
silence and solitude. So I'm adding one every year. I'm taking a year to get
Yeah.
it into a
Yeah.
rhythm of my
Yeah.
life. I think that is such an encouraging thing for people to understand. It's like, I'm not going to do all 8 right away. Take some
No.
time to really discern which one do you need to start
Yeah.
practicing.
And I think for our connect groups in particular, because there's lots of people that watch this from connect groups,
Mm-hmm.
just this week, talk to your connect group about what one of these
Yeah.
disciplines, what are you going to implement, right? And then just hold each other accountable. The journey of the Christian faith should be enjoyable. Yes,
Yeah.
there are pressures. Yes, there are sacrifices, and pick up your
Mhm.
cross and
Yeah.
die daily to self. I mean, but I talk to so many people that put undue pressure on
Mm.
themselves. I gotta figure this out. I gotta do this. I gotta, like I have this, like, just real quick. I mean, everyone knows now that I'm going to a CrossFit gym, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to figure out the routines. And there's a lot of things I have no sweet clue what the coach is talking about, and I have to go,
Mm.
hey, can you help me? And so in that understanding of, and I sometimes get frustrated at the gym, and I'm like, why can't I remember what
Mhm.
this stupid lift is?
Yeah.
And then I have to go to someone in the class. I'm like, hey, Rob, can you tell me? He goes, yeah, it's this. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah.
And
And
so just giving yourself grace and room. And
mhm. And that's the beauty of our connect groups is to say, you know what, I'm sensing that I need to slow down my life a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say it in a connect group, and then they can start praying for you and
Yeah.
encouraging you. And
It's
then
amazing.
also when it comes like 2 weeks later, you can be like, okay, guys, the pace of life I cannot control right now. It's going way too fast. And then they can again pray for you, check in with you. And like you said, the walk the walk of the Christian faith should be enjoyable. You're supposed to experience life and life to the fullest through Jesus.
Right.
Like, and that's the thing, right? Yeah, like you said, it's going to be tough sometimes.
Yeah.
But community is such a massive piece of it.
Yep. Often
And
it's the missing piece for people, right? They think,
ooh,
oh, I can do this Christian journey on my own. They miss out on the beautiful gift of the body of Christ. And
yeah,
we can experience God on our own for sure, but the power of community. So
beautiful. Okay. Practicing the way.
8 weeks. We probably should do this series again in 2 years. And
oh, yeah. It'd be pretty cool to see the stories that come out of this series, and then we do it again. It's incredible. So
yeah, it's been great.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you for the people that have been listening, watching online. Some connect groups are actually watching this all together right now in the same room, which is really cool to start hearing. Ron's waving.
For those of you watching by video, I just waved to you. Or those of you who are listening on our podcast, I just waved to everybody.
I love it. Thanks so much. And it's just so great. I'm thinking about this series, and I'm just so encouraged for myself and for you guys listening.
Hey, sorry, we didn't do a question. Oh, we don't have time for the question.
No,
we better wrap up now. Okay, shoot.
Sorry, anonymous question.
Anonymous emailer.
Our bad. Okay, everyone. Peace out. Have a good one, and God bless.
Peace.